She said it like a warning, soft, low, barely louder than the rustle of pages. Be quiet here. But even then, her voice made the silence sound alive. It was a Tuesday evening, the kind that smelled like rain on pavement and old paper. The library lights had dimmed to that in-between hour, not bright enough to read comfortably, not dark enough to leave. I was shelving the last stack of returns when she appeared at the end of the aisle. She didn't belong to the noise of the day. She moved like someone who'd been holding her breath for years. Her hair was tied back in a loose knot, a few strands falling like she'd stopped caring halfway through. A dark green sweater, sleeves pushed up to her elbows, a pen tucked behind one ear. Her fingers brushed over the spines of books as if they were fragile things. I remember thinking, that's how she touches everything. I didn't say anything at first. I just watched her read the same title twice, lips parting slightly, eyes tracing the words as if they hurt to look at. When she noticed me, she smiled, a quiet, practiced kind of smile. Not the kind people give when they're happy. The kind they give when they've learned to hide. You work here? She asked. Sometimes, I said, and immediately hated how young it sounded. Her head tilted, amused. That sounds like something people say when they don't want to admit how often they stay. She was right. I'd been coming here after classes, long after everyone left. I liked the quiet, or maybe I liked that she was always part of it. The woman who straightened books like they mattered, who moved through silence like it was a language only she knew. Her name tag said Claire. She caught me looking. You're supposed to be shelving those, she said, nodding at the stack in my hands. I murmured. But then you showed up. Her eyes flicked up. Not a smile this time, just a flicker of something unreadable, gone as quickly as it came. The air between us thickened, the way air does when no one knows what to do with it. I could hear the rain starting outside, tapping against the tall windows. Her perfume, faint, something floral and tired, drifted over. She moved closer to return a book to the shelf near me. Our hands brushed. It wasn't even a real touch, more like static, a tiny accident. But it landed wrong or right, depending on how honest I want to be. Her hand paused for half a second too long before she pulled away. I didn't mean to, she began. I know, but she didn't finish the rest of her sentence. Instead, she stayed there, standing too close, breathing too quietly. I pretended to look at the books. Neither of us turned. You should probably lock up soon, she said finally. I don't think I want to, I replied. Something in her expression shifted. A small, fragile thing cracked. A laugh that wasn't a laugh, a breath caught halfway. You don't listen very well, she said. I'm trying to, I whispered. Her eyes found mine, steady, searching. The kind of look that doesn't need words. The kind that feels like an answer and a question at the same time. And then, from behind us, the library's front door creaked open. A gust of cold air swept in, carrying rain and footsteps. She stepped back quickly, her hand brushing the counter for balance. Go, she said under her breath, voice trembling just slightly. Before someone sees. But even as she said it, she didn't move away. And neither did I. The next evening, I told myself I wouldn't stay late. I stayed anyway. The rain had carried over from the night before, soft, steady, the kind that turns every window into a mirror. Claire was behind the counter, typing something on an old keyboard, glasses perched low on her nose. I should have gone straight to my section, but instead, I found reasons to linger, books that didn't need reshelving, carts that didn't need moving. When she looked up, her eyes flicked over me, quick but not dismissive. You're here again, she said, half a question, half a warning. I shrugged. It's quiet here. It's supposed to be. Her tone had edges this time. Not sharp enough to cut, but enough to make me aware of how young I must look to her. She was probably used to people my age talking too much, wanting too much. Do you ever get tired of quiet? I asked. She hesitated, then leaned back in her chair. All the time, she said. But it's safer than the noise. That lingered. There was something in the way she said safer, as if she'd once been burned by too much sound, too much closeness. I'd seen no ring, but the faint pale band around her finger told its own story. A marriage that ended, maybe. Or a life she'd stepped out of, not entirely clean. Used to be married? I asked before I could stop myself. Her eyes flicked up sharply. Used to be a lot of things. Then softer. That one just stuck the longest. She closed the topic with that sentence. But as she stood to return a stack of books, she brushed past me, just close enough that her sleeve grazed my hand. She didn't apologize this time. I followed her down the aisle, pretending to rearrange books that didn't need it. The space between us felt charged, not romantic in the movie sense, but something quieter, heavier. She reached for a book on the top shelf, stretched, and I caught the faint scent of her. Not perfume, but something warmer, like old paper and skin. Her hand slipped slightly, and I steadied the spine before it fell. Our fingers overlapped, hers cool, mine shaking a little more than I'd like. "Thanks," she said, pulling away. Her voice was steady, but her breathing wasn't. "You don't have to keep saving me," she added after a moment. "I'm not sure that's what I'm doing," I said. She turned to face me fully this time, studying me. There was curiosity in her eyes, and fear just beneath it. "You're what, 22? 26. That surprised her. She blinked, then nodded. "Still too young." "Too young for what?" Her lips parted, then closed again. The silence that followed wasn't awkward. It was electric. She shifted her weight, brushing a loose strand of hair behind her ear. I noticed her hand trembled slightly when she did it. Finally, she said, "You shouldn't look at me like that. I don't know how else to look at you." That broke something in the air. The kind of moment where both people realize they've crossed an invisible line but don't want to step back. She didn't speak. Just reached out, her hand brushing the edge of my sleeve. So small a touch it might have been accidental. Then she let it linger. Her thumb moved once, a tiny motion against the fabric, before she stepped away. "Lock up when you're done," she said softly, not looking back. The sound of her heels faded down the hall, leaving me standing there, hand still warm where she'd touched it, the rain still whispering against the windows. And for the first time, the quiet didn't feel safe anymore. Thursday nights were never busy, but that one felt unusually still, the kind of stillness that waits for something to go wrong. Claire was alone behind the circulation desk, typing late returns into the system. The light from her screen softened her face, made her look younger and lonelier too. I was supposed to be restocking fiction, but I'd run out of excuses hours ago. She looked up as I hovered near the desk. "You again." I smiled just a little. "You sound surprised every time." "I shouldn't be." Her voice was low. "You're starting to make a habit of this." "So are you." That earned a half laugh, small, real. The kind that escapes before someone can stop it. For a while, neither of us spoke. The clock ticked loud in the silence. Somewhere in the back, the air conditioner kicked on and hummed through the vents. She closed the last tab on her computer and leaned back, rubbing her temples. "You should be out with people your age," she said quietly. "Maybe I like being here." "Why?" "Because you're here." That stopped her. Her hands stilled on the desk. She didn't look at me right away, just exhaled slowly, as if she'd been holding that breath for a long time. "You don't mean that." "I do." Her voice softened. "You don't know what you're asking for." "I'm not asking." Something flickered between us. Not quite a smile, not quite resistance. She stood, gathering a few stray books, and I reached to help her. Our hands touched again, longer this time. Neither of us moved. Her pulse beat under my fingers. She must have felt mine too. And then, the sound of footsteps in the hallway. She pulled her hand back instantly. A coworker, an older man with a keyring clattering at his hip, rounded the corner. "Claire, you still here?" he called. "Lights need shutting down." "Almost done," she said quickly, voice steady but eyes wide on me. He nodded, barely glancing in my direction. "Don't stay too late. You know how the alarms get." When he was gone, the silence came back harder, heavier. She turned to me, whispering now. "This is exactly why." "I know. It can't look like." "I know," I said again, but I didn't step back. The rain had started outside, soft at first, then harder, drumming against the tall windows. Her eyes flicked toward it, then back to me. The space between us was small enough that I could feel the warmth of her breath when she spoke. "This isn't smart," she murmured. "I'm not feeling very smart right now." She almost smiled. Almost. Then she reached up, maybe to push me away, maybe to fix the collar of my shirt, and her fingers brushed the base of my throat. That single touch froze us both. We stayed like that, her hand half lifted, mine hovering just above hers, close enough that I could see the faint tremor in her wrist, the rise and fall of her breathing. Her eyes darted to my mouth. And for a second, one heartbeat too long, everything else fell away. Then she whispered, "Don't," and stepped back. But her hand didn't fall. It lingered in the air between us, open, trembling, as if part of her hadn't heard what she just said. The rain kept beating against the windows. Neither of us moved. Friday felt different. Maybe it was the storm that hadn't stopped since morning. the kind that drowned out everything but your own pulse. The library was nearly empty by closing. Claire moved through the aisles with her usual calm precision, but there was something frayed beneath it. She avoided my eyes when I spoke, kept her answers short, efficient. Still, she didn't tell me to leave. When the last visitor walked out, she locked the door and leaned against it for a moment, eyes closed, shoulders heavy. I could hear the rain hammering the glass, the wind pushing against the windows like it wanted in. "You shouldn't still be here," she said, without opening her eyes. "Then tell me to go." She opened them, looked straight at me. "You don't listen." "Not to that." She sighed, stepping past me. I caught the faintest trace of her: soap, rain, old books. Her sweater brushed my arm as she reached for the lights. The room dimmed to a single lamp near the desk, the rest swallowed by shadow. "I can't keep," she started, then stopped. "You make this hard." "Then don't make it easy," I said quietly. Her laugh came out uneven. "God, you sound so young. And you sound scared." That landed. She turned to face me, something sharp flickering in her eyes. "You think this is easy for me?" "That I don't." She cut herself off, jaw tightening. "You don't understand." "Then tell me." Her hand went to her temple, like she could rub the thought away. "You remind me of someone I used to be," she said finally. "Before everything got smaller. Before I stopped wanting things I couldn't have." She was trembling. Not visibly, but enough that when she brushed a strand of hair from her face, I noticed the way her fingers hesitated. I stepped closer. Slowly. She didn't move back. "Claire." Her name came out rougher than I meant it to. She looked up. The light caught in her eyes, tired, alive, uncertain. "You don't know what this would cost," she whispered. "Then let me decide what it's worth." Her breath hitched. For a second, neither of us breathed. I could hear the clock ticking behind us, the rain beating faster. Then she stepped forward, just a fraction, and her hand found my chest, flat against my shirt. Not pushing, not pulling. Just there. Her voice was low. "This isn't supposed to happen. It already is." Her fingers curled slightly, gripping fabric. I could feel the tremor running through her hand. I reached up, slow, careful, and tucked a loose strand of hair behind her ear. She closed her eyes when I did it, leaning ever so slightly into my touch. Her breath brushed against my neck. I felt her lips part just enough to draw air. My heart was beating so loud it drowned the rain. Then the sound, a faint buzz on her desk. A phone. She froze, pulled back half an inch, eyes darting to the screen. The name flashing there stopped her cold. Her ex-husband. She swallowed hard, looked at me again, guilt, want, fear all tangled together. "I need to." "I know." But neither of us moved. We stood there, so close our shadows merged on the wall, both waiting for something we couldn't take back. The phone buzzed again. She looked at it, then at me. "Tell me to stop," she said. I didn't. The next morning, the library felt different, too bright, too exposed. The storm had passed, but the air still hummed with leftover electricity. Claire wasn't at her desk when I walked in. I found her in the back room, sorting returned books with quiet precision, sleeves rolled up, jaw tight. She didn't look at me when I said her name. "Claire." She kept working. "We can't keep doing this." "Doing what?" "Whatever that was." Her voice was steady, but the way she stacked the books, too fast, too rough, gave her away. "I didn't come here to make things harder," I said. "Then why are you still here?" she asked, finally looking up. Her eyes were red, tired, like she hadn't slept. I didn't answer right away. "Because I didn't know how to say. Because you're the only thing that feels real right now." She sighed, pressing her palms flat against the counter. "He called last night," she said quietly. "Your ex?" She nodded. "He's moving back. He wants to meet. Closure, he says." The word closure sat between us, sharp-edged and heavy. "I thought you said he was gone for good." "I thought so too." She looked down, voice breaking just slightly. "I didn't tell you everything." Something in my chest shifted. Not anger, not jealousy, something deeper. "What did you leave out?" She hesitated. Her throat moved before she spoke. "He left me for someone younger. Someone your age." The words hit like cold air. "And now here I am," she said, her laugh small, bitter. "Standing in a library, flirting with the same mistake. You think that's what this is?" "I don't know what this is." Her hand brushed her forehead, and I saw it, the faint tremble again. Not from fear, but from something she was fighting back too hard. I stepped closer, quietly. "You're not a mistake." She looked up, and for a second her mask slipped. I saw all of it. The longing, the shame, the hunger to be seen and terrified of being seen too clearly. "Stop," she whispered. "You don't understand how this looks. Then explain it to me." "I can't." She turned away, brushing past me. Her shoulder caught mine, and I caught her scent again, faint, familiar. But before she could leave, her phone buzzed on the counter. A message lit up the screen. From Mara, assistant librarian. Message: "I saw you and him last night. We need to talk before the board does." The room went silent. Claire froze, staring at the words. Her face drained of color. "They saw us," she whispered. I felt my stomach drop. "What happens now?" I asked. She looked at me, eyes wide, voice trembling. "If they report it, I lose my job." She pressed her hand against her mouth, pacing, trying to breathe. "This is exactly what I was afraid of." I stepped toward her, gently taking her wrist. "Then tell me what you want me to do." She looked down at where I was holding her, our hands joined, tight, desperate. Her voice cracked. "Let me make a choice before someone else does." For a heartbeat, I thought she'd pull away. Instead, she didn't move at all. We just stood there, her pulse racing against mine, the sound of the clock echoing through the silence. Each second a reminder that we were out of time. That night, the library stayed dark long after closing. No lamps, no sound but the rain starting again, soft this time, like it was afraid to interrupt. Claire stood near the front window, arms folded, staring out at the empty parking lot. I could see her reflection in the glass, her face drawn tight, her body tense but still. She didn't turn when I walked in. "You shouldn't be here," she said quietly. "Neither should you." She gave a faint, tired smile at her own reflection. "They'll talk. They always do." "Then let them," I said. She finally faced me, eyes steady but glistening. "You don't know what that means. For me, it's not a rumor. It's a career. My name on every email. My reputation." "I know." I stepped closer, slow, deliberate. "But you keep saying you can't, and you're still here." Her breath caught. "Because I don't know how to stop." The honesty of it hit harder than anything else. We stood there, the space between us smaller with every second. The faint smell of rain drifted in through the vents. Her hair was loose tonight, a few strands falling across her face. I wanted to reach out, to tuck them behind her ear again, but I didn't move yet. "You make me forget how old I am," she said softly. "You make me forget everything else," I replied. She looked down. "That's exactly what's wrong with this." "No," I said. "That's what makes it real." She shook her head, but she didn't step back when I moved closer. Her voice was barely a whisper. "You're too young to understand what it's like to ruin something and never get it back." "I think I do." Her hand lifted as if to stop me, but it hovered halfway, trembling. My chest brushed her fingertips. I could feel her breath now, shallow, uneven. "Claire." The way I said her name, quiet, careful, made her eyes soften. I saw every part of her that had been guarded for weeks start to unravel. "This will hurt," she said. "Then let it." That was the moment, the one right before. The moment every silence had been leading to. Her hand rose slowly, found the side of my face. Her thumb brushed my cheek, light as breath. She looked at me like she was memorizing something she wasn't supposed to keep. We leaned closer. Not enough to touch, just enough to feel what we'd already decided. But then she exhaled, eyes closing, and whispered, "If I don't stop now, I never will." I stood still, so close that her whisper warmed my skin. She pulled her hand away, gently, like peeling something fragile off glass. "This has to mean something more than wanting," she said. "Otherwise I lose myself again." The words hurt. They also felt true. I nodded because I finally understood. It wasn't rejection, it was survival. Her eyes met mine, full, raw, alive. "You'll hate me for this," she said. I couldn't. She smiled faintly. "Then don't wait for me." The rain outside grew louder, hiding the sound of her footsteps as she walked past. When she reached the door, she stopped, hand on the frame, shoulders tense. Without turning, she said, "You were the first person to really see me. Don't let that be the last thing I remember." And then she was gone. The silence that followed wasn't empty this time. It was full of everything we hadn't said, and everything we finally understood. Weeks passed before I saw her again. The library felt hollow without her, like someone had taken the heartbeat out of the place and left only the shell. I still came most nights, shelving returns I didn't need to, reading half a page at a time and never finishing. I told myself I'd moved on. But every time the front door opened, I looked up. Every time it rained, I caught myself listening. Then one Tuesday, the same day of the week we first met, she walked in. No warning. No call. Just Claire, standing by the door, rain still caught in her hair, that same green sweater, older now somehow. "Hey," she said, like we hadn't broken each other open, and walked away. "Hey," I said back, too quiet. She took a slow breath. "I thought you'd stopped coming." "I tried." That made her smile, small, real. She moved closer, the faint scent of rain following her. "You look tired." "So do you." We stood there for a moment, both waiting for the other to fill the silence. When neither of us did, she laughed softly under her breath. "I didn't lose my job," she said. "Mara talked to the board. They just warned me." Relief hit like air after holding your breath too long. "And your ex?" I asked. "Still gone," she said. This time for good. Something about the way she said it, steady, not bitter, told me she meant it. She walked past me, tracing her fingers along the same row of books where everything had started. When she stopped, I was right behind her. "It's quieter than I remember," she murmured. "Maybe it's waiting for us to ruin it again." She smiled, turning to face me. "You think we ruined it?" I shook my head. "No, just made it harder to forget." For the first time, she didn't look away. Her eyes held mine, open, unguarded. "I missed this," she said quietly. "What part?" "The part where I stopped pretending I don't feel anything." Something in my chest loosened. I stepped forward, slow enough to give her time to change her mind. She didn't. Her hand found mine, fingers tentative at first, then sure. Warm. Real. We stood there, our hands joined between rows of books that had seen everything. "I don't know what this means yet," she whispered. "Then we'll find out together." She nodded once, and that was enough. I brushed a strand of hair from her face, the same way I had before. But this time, she didn't pull back. Her forehead rested against mine, her breath soft and steady. No kiss. No grand gesture. Just two people who'd spent too long trying to quiet what wouldn't stay silent. Outside, the rain eased into a gentle patter. Inside, the library felt alive again. She looked up at me one last time, eyes warm. "Still don't listen, do you?" "Not to you," I said, smiling. And for once, she didn't tell me to be quiet. "Did you enjoy the story? What kind of stories would you like to hear next?"